Welcome to the Daily Dish with New York Times bestselling author Leanne Ely. Putting vibrancy back into your everyday life and feeding your heart, mind, body, and soul. Join us every day at 1 p.m. Eastern for Motivational Monday, Tuesday's Tip, Wise Woman's Wednesday, Thirsty Thursday, Food Fight Friday, and of course Q&A, where no question is off limits, and Soulful Saturday. Here is your host, Leanne Ely, and the Daily Dish.
Who's thirsty? I sure am. It's Thursday, for heaven's sakes. I got myself a little hot milk mix going, and guess what I've got? Guess what else I have? You guys are going to love this. Do you see this? Do you see that tea bag floating in there? That's right. Wise Women's Tea is back in the shop. The regular. We've had the decaf forever. But the regular is back in the shop. And let me just tell you, there it is. My life is complete. I love this stuff so much. This is our own blend. There's green and black tea in it and a ton of bergamot. So it's just fantastically lovely. Hello, hello, hello there. Margot is here. Gloria's here. Jeanette, hello. Butterfly, nice to see you. Angie, Martha, Sarah. She's got to get matching nail polish. I wish I brought mine downstairs. I'll have to show you what I have. I'd put my foot up and show you my toes, but I mean, gross. Who wants to see that? Lizzie's here. Jocelyn's here. Mary Ann, Lily. I'm so glad you're here. Jackie, Joanne, Helen. Goodness gracious. Look at that. I've got Gloria here and Marguerite. And of course, my darling June and Joanne. Did I miss you? Kathy, Carla. Sharon's here too. I'm so glad you're all here. And if I've missed saying hello to you, well, just say, hey, say hi to me. I'm here too. Priscilla, she's in the house. Listen, we're starting our Get Strong challenge. That all starts on Monday. And I'm going to give you a challenge. Go watch the webinar because I'm going to bet you money, dollars to donuts. Well, let's skip the donuts. Take the donuts out of the equation. But I'm going to bet that your idea of fitness is dated. Your idea of fitness is when you were 25 or 30. Your idea of fitness is that it has to be hard. It has to be daunting. It has to hurt. Not freaking true. Not true. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do fitness in a way that you can fit it into your life so that your life is you're better served by a stronger, healthier body. What do you think of that idea? Lifting your toes to the camera is definitely functional fitness. I could do it. That's the scary part. I could do it, but then I'd hate myself for doing it because I'd say, why did I do that? That's just so scary. So we are starting this challenge, by the way, on Monday. And for all of you who ordered the Get Strong, Be Strong kits, they've all gone out. They've all gone out without your CLA, but that is coming, by the way, because we just blew out of that. We had to double order on that. Hi, Juanita. I'm glad to see you. Mary Ann, Debbie. So good to see you all. Anyway, I wanted you to know about that. So find it at savingdinner.com/strong. Secondarily, this Saturday at 10 a.m., we're getting ready. We're queuing up the next one. And the next one after that is going to be our Vibrant Body Detox. Listen, we're always in a state of detox. There's a way to do it and a way not to do it. The way that we do it is completely gentle, works with your body, not against it. And I promise you won't be running to the bathroom. Okay? It's that kind of a thing. You can find that at savingdinner.com/vibrant. It's this Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern. savingdinner.com/restore. That's where you're going to find it. Hi, Doris. Your dream is to try on a pair of size 12 in the dressing room during the sale. Wasn't that such a good story? Yeah. My story was in Madewell. My daughter drugged me to Madewell. I'm like, I'm not paying $100 for a pair of jeans, but we went to Madewell and I asked for the 10s. The 10s didn't work. Then I had to get the 8s and then I ended up in 6s. That was a jaw dropper. So I was pretty excited to be saying, can you give me the 10s? It happens. It happens. And those kind of things are really fun. Aren't you glad, though, that our lives aren't just all about the dressing room and getting on a smaller pair of jeans? There's so much more connected to it. And this is just so Anyway, we have these little moments in our lives. I think we need to treasure those a little bit more than we do, because you know what happens if we just kind of keep our eye off the prize. This is why, by the way, we stay on the rails by going from one challenge to the next to the next. That doesn't mean you have to like, oh, I'm going to do this and oh, I'm going to do that. It means you need to redirect your focus a little bit. Yeah. When we redirect our focus and we see, oh, you know, I need to really pay attention to my hydration, or, ooh, look what collagen can do for me. Or, hey, you know, let's get strong. All of these little things, they just move the needle a little, just a little bit, and help us keep our focus on ourselves and in the work that we're doing in order to become and be and have the most vibrant life possible. That's why. And it makes all the sense in the world. And I could bring you all this new research, just drill it down and say, here it is, go take a look and, you know, do with it what you will. It's fun, isn't it? Speaking of fun, Sarah was the first one on board with our new mindful mug. What do you think of that? I'm trying to get it out of the glare. I have grit, not quit. Come on. How many fabulousness things is this? I have grit, not quit. It's bright red with a white middle. On the back side, of course, you're going to get mindful mug and Pinky's Up cup. This is our latest. You can find it at savingdinner.com/mug. Limited supply because they sent a third of them were smashed. Can you believe it? People, I mean, come on, common sense, folks. Common sense. Did you? Oh my goodness. Well, look at you, Gloria. Bam. She's a size 5. She was a 9 before. Now she's speaking in junior sizes. I speak in Mrs. sizes because the juniors was a long time ago. Butterfly, don't you love the new cup? I think it's so lovely. Also sitting in that cup was the organic ACV. And by the way, this is something you really should know about and start utilizing. It's inexpensive. It's great. And we're buy 3, we're going to get 1 free. It's kind of like the gala. This is a great screaming deal. Find it at savingdinner.com/show. Now, I love organic ACV. It has a lot of things from digestion to helping to populate and feed your little flora down there, the good guys in your gut. You know, good stuff. This is just, there's a lot that can be said about organic ACV. You'll find it at savingdinner.com/show. That's where we stick all our deals of the week. And just an FYI, it'll be gone on Monday, right? It will be gone on Monday. Butterfly goes, it's perfect. You know what? It pretty much is. It is. This is the other thing too that I have to say that I love about it. Look how big the grit is, that part, because that's the place that we need to be putting our concentration on. You know, when we quit on ourselves, it just makes us feel like crap. So, and also packages are going out. We got a huge order in yesterday. We're in the midst of counting, getting it out and blah, blah, blah. So, you know, if you're saying, hey, people are saying that they've got their gala stuff yet and I still haven't gotten mine, trust me, everything is being taken care of and you are being very much seen, heard, and cared for with kid gloves. That's how we roll. We love you and we want to make sure that we do a good job with your order. So if you have any concerns or you have any questions, do send your questions into support@savingdinner.com. That's where we can address them and that's where we can help you with them. How about that? These cups cannot go in the dishwasher. Carol, thank you for telling me. Do you know, we learned something. Now, cups that can go in the dishwasher, they've been silk screened apparently, and it costs double what they do. And we can't afford to do that. We're not going to sell you $30 cups. Come on. So I know, Lizzie, you do. Yes. Hi, Flynn. We want to make sure that, you know, just give it a little rinsey poo with your soapy sponge and we're done. It's just a real easy thing to do. Just keep it out. Don't take it to chance with the dishwasher. Yeah. And I mean, the bright red, you know what I like about this? This is like red alert, warning, warning, warning. Do not quit on yourself, honey. You've got grit. Yeah. It courses through our veins. Lucy's here, everyone. I'm so glad. You know, and today I'm going to be talking about, well, you'll see what I'm talking about. Did I tell you about everything you need to know? Yes, Pop-Up Boutique, savingdinner.com/pop for all the latest full bloom gear. Whoa, oh, whoa. And don't forget, Full Bloom, all the details for it, it is coming up faster than you know it. savingdinner.com/bloom. Virtual tickets, in-person tickets, 3 pay for the in-person, all the things. Boy, I want you to come. I'm just telling you, I want you to come. That's all. I'm just going to leave it right there. You know, you guys are going to love, I hope you are anyway. I have to tell you, I was, I've been busy with family. We had Mark's daughter here and soon to be son-in-law. We're hoping this is happening pretty soon, but getting there, I think. And their little dog, Willie, they were here from Saturday all the way to today. They're leaving. And we had just a lovely time. And I just was a little bit MIA. You probably noticed that I wasn't quite as active. But I had a chance last night, late last night, to kind of go in and peek at our little Hot Milk Sprint group. And you know what I noticed? I noticed a lot of vulnerable posts. I noticed people sharing vulnerable things about their personal life and children, a personal hard part of a vulnerable post about, I'm really having a hard time here and I need to be accountable. I noticed people coming and asking for prayer. I saw and noticed and really felt. And at the end of looking through all those posts, I don't think I even had the energy at that point to even post or say anything or even like the post at that point. I'll plan on going back later today. I felt inside of me that being vulnerable is one of our superpowers, and having the ability and the courage to step into this place of vulnerability is a way to take off one more layer of, hey, everything's fine, garbage that we've all learned how to do. We've all learned how very well, either from parents or from whomever. We've learned how to put on masks and to pretend and to think that everything is just fine. And I hate the word fine. How are you? Fine. I hate that. It's almost underhanded, like everything in my life is exploding and I'm just going to sit here and grin like a fool. I think that this week on Strength has really brought out a lot of vulnerability in a great way, said Sarah. Maybe that's true. Maybe that's true. What I do know is, one of my favorite people for this whole topic of being vulnerable and being courageous and letting go of shame and all of this is Brene Brown. And if you've read any of hers, look what Gloria said. I feel safe to be vulnerable in this amazing community. Lisa said, I don't want to pretend anymore. June's getting chills. Lucy says, I was richly rewarded for being vulnerable this week. What do you think about that? I don't know. Maybe I'm not going to make it through this whole time without crying. But, I think you reach a new level of being a human being when you're able to connect on that kind of a level and just lay it out there, with a bunch of people that you've chit-chatted with, and posted with and encouraged and supported and what have you with, but you haven't met them in person, right? But when we have this kind of a community, can you imagine what it would be like if we were all together? Goodness. I don't know. I'm just letting you know. These are my thoughts. And this is why I keep saying, come to Full Bloom. It's important, this is a connection. But the fact that we're even here and we're even experiencing this kind of power in the vulnerability that's being posted. And you know what the most beautiful thing is? Reading the comments that come after. Nobody's saying like, just pull yourself up by your bootstraps, or this too shall pass, or don't worry, God won't give you anything that you can't handle. Crap like that just makes me bristle with anger because it's dismissive. And when you're putting yourself out there and you're really willing to be vulnerable, you want to be met with people who are empathetic and loving, right? Empathetic and loving. Joanne says, such kindred spirits here. Yes. Betsy says, be true to yourself. I'm not going to lie to myself anymore. I'm done with it. Some days are not fine. That's right. 50 days till full bloom hugs, 100%. So I'm going to talk about vulnerability because all week we've been talking about power. And in us, this incredible power that's been given, God-given, that's in our DNA. I believe, you know how I talk about inflammation and every cell and the mitochondria and the membrane and all that. I talk about this because I say individually, every cell is a representation of what your body is. Well, I believe that inside of each one of those cells is this incredible power that we have that's part of our DNA that fortunately the human eye can't see, but God can. And this is who we are. This is the stuff that's innate and within each one of us. No one is taken out of that equation. No one is exempt from this. Everyone has this incredible power within. And it's a personal power, and it shows up in a myriad of different ways. And today we're just talking about the power of vulnerability. Now, the dictionary says it's the quality or state of being exposed to the possibility of being attacked, either physically or emotionally, or harmed even physically or emotionally. Vulnerability. I think about vulnerability when I'm playing with my dog and I see he just lays back on his belly. And that's a vulnerable position for a dog, by the way. And you're just rubbing his belly and telling him what a good boy he is, right? Isn't that so fun that you do that with a dog? Well, we do that with ourselves. We expose our bellies, so to speak. We expose ourselves. There's an old saying called opening your kimono, and just letting it all hang out there. And we do that. And when we do that, do you know what we do? We're dropping a layer and we're adding into our whole equation of this vulnerability amazing courage. Courage is such an interesting word. And if you're going to be part of Full Bloom, we're going to really dig deep into Full Bloom, into courage. That's going to be a big part of what we do as part of, our work that we do for the conference. But talking about, vulnerability today, even though there's a courageous component, there's a lot of layers to vulnerability, and there's a lot of ways that we can actually harness this as a strength. Okay, let's talk about that. So yes, it can be hard. And the other thing about, like I said, opening up your kimono and everything, it can also be a real 2x4 upside your head, like it's just like, it's all out there. And I'm not talking necessarily cosmic 2x4 in like, oh, I just suddenly see and now, connect the dots here. I'm talking about like, this is hard. This is ripping the Band-Aid off. This is just showing it all out there, and it's miserably hard. And that happens for most of us because this is how we're built as humans, and also how we've been conditioned, in our families, right? Not that our families, we have evil families. I'm saying that we are all taught to be courteous and have manners, and how are you? Fine, right? That's just how it rolls. And please and thank you and you're welcome. And we are all good to go. But there is this thing that happens to us when we start to be real, that we start to be vulnerable, much like the skin horse, who's having this conversation with the rabbit about being vulnerable. This is what makes you real. This is what makes you real. It's when everything is off. It's when you're missing a button, or the skin's a little rubbed off, or whatever it is, if you're, follow that story. But here for us, we do this, when we do this vulnerability thing, we come into a place of a safe setting, and we've created that. We've created that with this community and with all these years, and with showing upness and being able to step forward and opening your kimono maybe, or coming alongside and supporting somebody who really needs you, who really needs a kind word, who needs a hand held, or needs a loving thing said to them, or needs to believe something a little bit different. Because oftentimes what happens with this vulnerability comes a lot of beating up, like putting yourself down and saying that it's just, it's everything that you can't do, So I believe too that when we're vulnerable, though, it puts us on a path to a healthier relationship with ourselves. You know, we start to see things maybe we didn't want to see before or confront. And confronting is never a thing. Nobody ever says, hey, I know I'm going to get up today and it's going to be all about the confrontation because it's so much fun. You know, we have a tendency to avoid that more than anything. It's awful and hard. And it puts us in a vulnerable place too. And it also, even when it's with ourselves. So, but when we do this with ourselves, you know, we set ourselves free when we start to be vulnerable with ourselves and start to really confront those things that we're seeing. It sets us free from them. Maybe not all at one time, maybe not like that, but certainly on the path anyway. Number two, it draws us closer to others. And you've seen this, you know, we've experienced that this week within our community. And it also gives us a better relationship with the truth. Because when we duck and hide, when we avoid, and we're not looking at things that we need to be looking at, it doesn't make it easier. It makes it harder. And there's a lot of energy going into avoidance. When our energy is aligned with what it is that we want in our lives and aligned with our actions, there's flow. And we talked about high vibe and all that. That's high vibe. That's high vibe and flow. And it's just like, go, go, go. Everything's great, great, great. I love this. I love this. I love this. And it makes it so much simpler, so much easier, right? But, you know, when we start to get it and we start to dial in and click with it, so to speak, that's what happens. You know, our vulnerability starts to become a strength and a power. Brene Brown, if you know Brene Brown, Daring Greatly and a few other books. I mean, she's really good to read. Watch her TED Talk on YouTube. She said, vulnerability isn't winning or losing. It's having the courage to show up when you can't control the outcome. And that's what happened this week. And that's what I saw on repeat. And that courage is such a tangible thing, and it works in so many different ways. And again, we are going to really unpack courage in a big way at Full Boom, because that's part of the whole thing of what this is about. But we also need to understand that while vulnerability can be the core of shame and unworthiness, we know this and that's one of the reasons why we don't want to be vulnerable. If we courageously go forward anyway, in a safe setting, guess what happens? We can get to this place of 1, find joy, 2, find it creatively, 3, start belonging and feeling like we're a part of, and 4, feel more love for ourselves and for others, believe it or not. So this finding joy thing, there's finding joy because we've let go of the thing that has held us back and given us misery for so long. That's where the joy comes. We let it go and we pick up joy instead, right? Can you feel that? There is joy in that. And it's the scariest thing to get there because that is one of those gap things that we talked about. Brene Brown. There you go. Look at Sarah. She's writing a new book right now. I know. Brene Brown. So you find joy in that. And we talk oftentimes about, you know, our goals are here and we are here and we build bridges. There's a gap between where we are and there. And learning to build that bridge comes with all of our tools. And it also comes from letting go of things that no longer serve and no longer build, right? And we also understand that joy is in the journey. It's not just in getting there. We don't want to rush through our lives to just merely get to goals. We want to accomplish them, but we need to embrace the joy in the journey. Perfect. I love that. So good. We also need to understand that, you know, creativity is where the solutions are, because we can't see our way to a solution to something if we're boxed in and very myopic and not willing to look at other viewpoints, not willing to open our eyes to other points of view, perhaps. And creativity gives us an opportunity to be solution-oriented instead of just really hell-bent on the problem. When we're hell-bent on the problem, we're also oftentimes shut down, unwilling to look, unwilling to peel that onion, unwilling. And you can't be vulnerable when you're unwilling. Unwillingness is a fence. Unwillingness is a barrier to vulnerability. And that vulnerability is truly the thing that's going to set you free. Incredibly. And the third thing, the belonging part, well, do I have to even say anything about that? The belonging part is incredible. The belonging part is saying, hey, here I am in this safe community with a bunch of women I've never met. And here's what's going on in my life. Here are the things that are hard. Here are the things that say, yikes. Jonathan Swift says, may you live all the days of your life. That's beautiful. What a great quote. Thanks for that, Sarah. But isn't it true? We can't live all the days of our lives if we're unwilling to go into the place of creativity to see the solution. We can't. Vulnerability opens the door. And then love. Good grief. Have you noticed? Vulnerability leads to love, not just love of others, not just love, a little bit more of love with, your significant other or husband or whatever, but love to yourself. And you start to love yourself up a little bit and say, I got a lot of bumps and bruises and warts along the way, got a lot of ugly stuff that's just come out. Oh my gosh. But you know what? You're all I got. You're all I got, Leanne. I mean, I can't trade myself in any more than you can. We've got this one body. I call it the bodysuit. And this is your car for life. This is all you got. But also you, the beautiful self, you inside. And being this vulnerable woman is going to allow you to be the very best version of yourself that you can ever be. You can't do that if you're unwilling to be vulnerable. You see how powerful vulnerability is? So psychologists say that being vulnerable, then you go into the psychological bit. Check this out. I got 5 things for you. Psychologists say that being vulnerable helps you, number 1, make deeper connections. Amen? Pinkies up? What? Of course. Don't you feel deeply connected to these women in this group? Don't you? I know I do. I mean, I know so much about each one of you. I know Sarah's son's first name is Clark. I know Lucy does this beautiful artwork and mosaics and everything with glass. I know about Patsy's handwork. I know about all these different things about you. I know that Gloria lives in Mexico. I know all about you. You post things and don't think it's just, I'm watching. I see you. I see you in your most vulnerable ways. I see you in your strength. I see you when you're naughty and nice. I'm freaking Santa Claus. It's true. But that's what it is. That's a deeper connection. That's beyond just like, hey, blah, blah. Here's my cute little meme that I'm sharing. It's way beyond that. Number 2, psychologists also say that being vulnerable gives you better knowing. Gives you better knowing and helps you to develop your beautiful self. It drives you right into your own soul. It does. It does. Because that is the core of who you are, is right here. And there's all this beautiful connection. There's a connection to yourself. There's a connection to your higher self. There's a connection to God through the Holy Spirit. There's this connection and your intuition, your empathy, your love. It's all intricately connected. And you can feel it grow and develop and become more of who you're meant to be. That's vulnerability doing that. That's vulnerability lifting and opening the door so that you can get in there and see it. Number 3 is acceptance and empathy of yourself and others. Holy cow. Doesn't that make such a different way? I had a long time ago when I was living in Green Creek, North Carolina, I had, we've all done this. We've seen somebody think their lives are just so perfect. And it was my pastor and his wife. And they had their son, and I know they had a car accident and lost another son. Well, they had 3 children and they lost one of them in a car accident. They had a daughter and a son, and then they adopted 2 children from Brazil. And what they went through with these kids from Brazil, they had a horrible, they were young, older when they were adopted, and what they went through was absolutely gobsmacking. And I'm not going to get into all the details because it's unimportant right now. I mean, it's important to them, of course. But I will never forget having coffee at her kitchen table, where I thought her life was absolutely perfect because it sure looked it. She had this garden growing. She had all her life together, and her husband was lovely, and their kids, this, that, and the other. I knew that one of the adopted daughters had gone off, and that's all I knew. Well, she opened it. I was sharing with her. I felt like I was just so broken and so having a hard time dealing with my marriage at the time, and trying to homeschool, knowing that I had a child with a disability and not being able to get him the help that he needed because my husband at the time didn't believe that, didn't believe it, whatever. And she said to me, God gave me this opportunity through this adoption to really have to open my heart to see others in their hurting, to be able to be more empathetic. I believe with all of my heart that this was what he did, that this was this opportunity. She said, had I not adopted these children, I would just be telling everybody, pull themselves up by their bootstraps and just fix it, and you're okay, and God's got a way for you, and just placating them with all kinds of, Bible band-aids without really truly loving. And she said, this has forced me to my knees so many times. I get it. I get struggling. I get pain. I get suffering now. And I want to say to you, anybody who's been through any kind of pain or whatever, that it opens our door to this vulnerable type of a life, and it opens the door for us to love greatly and deeply and empathetically and in a way we haven't before. That's your pain is the path to this kind of a life. Kind of a sad gift, maybe, but also a way for God to use you in a way that maybe he wouldn't have before. I offer that because I say, I see the struggles and I see the pain, and, I see the different things going through a divorce, having hard kids, having, struggles in your health, having all these different things. Maybe there's a path in that suffering. Have you looked for it? That's my open invitation for you. Number 4, it opens our eyes to other ways. We see things a certain way. We all have our own belief systems. But in our pain and in our struggle and in our place of vulnerability, we also can empathize now, even with our sworn enemies, right? We can, if we choose to. If we choose to see the humanity and the love and the God that resides in all of us, because he does. He's created and loves all of us. He's not just picking you out and dismissing everybody else. He loves us all, and we all suffer, and we all have something to offer, and we all are come to this world broken. And that brokenness can be a strength. Number 5, it teaches us to be okay with being uncomfortable. Have you noticed that? It does, because what do? Right? We run from discomfort. We push it away. We decide it doesn't exist. We deny it. It's just whatever we can do. We look at something else. We put our focus on anything but that. Because anything but that is better to be focused on this. This is the raw stuff. This is the place, the tender stuff that's in our heart. But I love this Brene Brown quote. Being vulnerable is our most accurate measure of courage. Accurate measure of courage. When we shut ourselves off from vulnerability, we distance ourselves from the experiences that bring purpose and meaning to our lives and to our work. I mean, that's exactly it. She said it in a quote. I said it took me 10, 15 minutes to get around that. But it's the truth. And you know what? This is how we live wholeheartedly. This is how we live wholeheartedly. Vibrant lives. They're born out of our brokenness. It's not easy peasy. Oh, look at me. Watch me skate. Nobody does that. We do it through brokenness. We walk through coals. We walk through fire sometimes. We do things that we would never think that we have the guts to do because of children, because of a relationship, because of a job even. We find ourselves in the place of vulnerability because of the pain. And if we use vulnerability as a power, not only do we get through the pain, but we come out of it so much stronger. Wow, that's powerful. We want to do everything to stop the hurt, to stop and to avoid the pain and to push it all away. But our greatest victory is going to come in the acknowledgement of our vulnerability. We even embrace it. Hold on to it and just say, okay, I'm in here. It's like wrestling a pig, right? It's hard, but you wrestle the pig and you get him to the ground, and it might be hard, but I'm going to tell you, at the end, you get the bacon. You get the bacon from the whole thing. It's our greatest teacher. Vulnerability is our greatest teacher. It's going to show us the things that we need to see. Without it, we don't. Without it, we put on blinders. Without it, we pretend. Without it, we're just fine. Hey, how are you doing? Fine. My life's great. How are you? Fine. Wearing a mask is not going to get you to the place of authentic life. It's not going to get you to the vibrant life that you want to lead. Not at all. Brene Brown says, shame is a liar. And this is what happens when we look at vulnerability with the wrong eyes. It's not shameful to be vulnerable. It's human. Courage is the truth that opens the door for vulnerability to do its incredible work. Period. And I have a quote it's my quote, and it says, the door to success is inward, not outward. Well, I'm going to tell you this, that the door to success will never open outward if you're not willing to be vulnerable. Never. Vulnerability is a superpower. It's a strength. The only thing is opening your door to vulnerability is do it in a safe place. We have that in the Hot Melt Sprint Group. We're blessed indeed, right? So I invite you then to go to this place of saying, am I willing to be vulnerable? And am I willing to allow for this vulnerability to teach me what it needs to teach me? Am I willing to have the most vibrant life ever by maybe going through a little fire, maybe going through a little pain? I say yes. I say yes to all of it. And I'm saying yes for you too. And I'll hold space for you who are saying, because this group is here for you. This is what we do. And this is why we stay connected. And this is why we roll through the challenges. And this is why we're constantly talking about this thing and this thing and this thing. It keeps us connected. It is better to learn slowly because that gives it time to sink in. It's true. It's also better to learn in the way that you are, however your learning style. I am an audible learner, or a visual learner rather. That's the best style for me. And I like things quick. I'm a quick start. So I like it quick, but then I process slower. Anyway, however you want to do it, my flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. Amen. Amen. David knew how to be vulnerable because he knew how great his sin was too. When he was finally able to look at it and be vulnerable and lay it all out, that's when things turned around for him. That's when it really turned around for him. And he became the wise man that he was meant to be. We can't do that in our cockiness and our know-it-allism, can we? We can't do it in this place of hiding and pretending. It's never going to get us to the place that we want to go. This is the hard work. But guess what? You know what the best part about this all is? It's ready for you at any time when you're ready to open up and you're ready to allow for this. And I say to that, pinkies up. You know why? Because that's what I want for you. That's what I want for all of us. That kind of vibrancy. Vibrancy comes and is birthed by vulnerability, if I could even say the word. That's all I have for you today. I think that was enough, don't you? I do hope I see you on Saturday. And don't forget, tomorrow's Q&A, right? So don't forget to send in your questions if you have them. I don't know if it'll get in this week. Support@savingdinner.com. Question for Leanne on Friday goes in the subject line. And Saturday, we're going to be talking about the Vibrant Body Detox. It's on, girlfriends. savingdinner.com/restore. And that's on 10 a.m. Eastern on Saturday. What do you think? Even if you're on the West Coast, you can have coffee with me, right? Very good. Helen said very powerful. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for that, Helen. Aw, Joanne. Aw, I love you, Joanne. Peace be with you. This way. See you later.
Thanks for watching. You can find us on YouTube on the Saving Dinner channel or on the Saving Dinner Facebook page. Check back daily for new episodes, Monday to Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern. If you missed the live show, you can watch the replay. Until next time, pinkies up.